Shield wall.
Through the white thunderstorms, we ride on the back of our truckers in a fearless stride. Sons of gold, hearts made of fire, conquering land, fueling our desire. Soaring engines and lightning in our eyes. United we stand, strength won't compromise. From the east to the west, we sail, we roll. Beneath open skies, the promised land where our spirits arise. We battle the storms and tides of the sea. Now we've arrived in the land we're meant to be.
Gets me every time, man. I love that. I love that intro. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the DragonShip. I am your host once again, Paul Bauer. Joining me today, we have the God amongst men, RP Thor. What's going on, Thor? You're on mute, man. You're on mute. You're on mute. There we go.
I always hate when I get the sail wrapped around my face and I can't speak like that. But anyway, it's nice to be here on the DragonShip, guys. I got Odin's hammer. I got Thor's hammer. We're going to swing for the fences today. What a cool topic, Paul. Thank you for hosting, and Huds, all you guys on the DragonShip. And you know what? I see the chat. I see Chuck the painter signing in. Lots of guys signing in. Phil, Brad. Look at all those beer club guys. Wow. Skull, you Saturday morning savages. Let's go.
Huds, you're on mute. I'm telling you that right now.
Hey,
how the hell are you?
I know how this stuff works. It's not my first rodeo. I'm doing fantastic, man. It's been a good week. I had a lot of really cool things happen. I guess I'll share this one. Mike, you might get a kick out of this. I won my first jackpot on a slot machine ever, and I won $15,000 this week.
15K.
Yeah, so I'm having a really good week.
15 bands, man.
Well, how much did you put in to win that?
So it was $3.52 spins,
Right.
and I would say I started with 500. I was down to like $360, so like $200.
That's not bad.
That's a good return. Now,
Yeah.
you did the right thing, right? You cashed out and walked out of the casino, right?
Exactly. I haven't touched anything since.
Well, good job, Huss here. We need a little bit of repair on the mast over here. Use some of that luck.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
Vegas, Huds.
Once in a lifetime thing. Go
Mike,
ahead.
what are you up to, man?
I am losing weight. Jack Napier has been assisting me personally, and every day this week I have done a 1-hour walk, whether it was in the morning before work or on my lunch break. I've managed to do a 1-hour walk every day this week, which comes out to about 7,900 steps.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
That's great. Yeah, a lot of guys just don't realize if they just got up and walked a little bit more, they would actually lose quite a bit of weight. I think that's why with your smartwatches, they always have that goal of 10,000 steps a day, right? That's your fake internet points for the day, because most people don't do that much, you know. But yeah, if you just get up and go for a walk, I mean, that's better than most guys sitting on the couch. That's for damn sure.
Well, Monsieur Chouk, I mean, one can have gourmet dinners, but it's going to be like protein heavy and maybe once a week, not every night. That's the difference.
Yeah. Everything in moderation.
Yeah, as long as
including moderation.
As long as you're taking your poon supplements, you'll be fine.
So it's all about that poon supplement.
Oh my gosh, you guys got to understand, man. It's neuroprotective.
Got to get that vitamin A.
Oh, now, hey, that'll keep your immune system healthy.
So we are talking about self-reflection. If you guys out in the audience don't know this, Tarl from Viking Paradigm was supposed to host. He and I both at the same time had computer issues. My hard drive crashed. His motherboard shit the bed, and he wasn't able to actually come up with any show notes in time for this. I, on the other hand, am an IT fucking god and got my shit up and running. So I'm hosting today. I went ahead and asked my boy ChatGPT to help us out, though, because none of us had time to write up show notes for this. So thank God for ChatGPT. But we are talking about self-reflection, right? Self-reflection. You find a lot of guys come to this space and they've got a victim mentality, I would say. A lot of the times when you first come to the space, you're sort of a victim and you're like, oh, she did this and women do this and women bad and all, men have no agency and the court system fucks you over and all this kind of stuff. Oh, we're
I'll
not
go to jail for asking a girl out.
Yeah, whatever it is, you completely disempower yourself with this victim mindset. And the guys that really come out on the other side in a better way are guys that are able to take a step back and self-reflect a little bit and go, okay, look, every major relationship I've had my entire life has failed. Who's the common denominator? Okay. You're like, what? Yeah. The other person probably did some fucked up stuff, right? So the other person probably did some messed up stuff, but I can't control what they did. I can only control what I did. What could I do better moving forward, right? That's kind of what we're talking about today, self-reflection. So I got some questions here. We'll start with Huds. We'll just sort of go around. But Huds, I'm going to put you in the hot seat here. What role does self-reflection play in understanding the dynamics of a failed relationship, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, without self-reflection, you can't get better. And what I've learned, especially being in this relationship that I've been in with the woman who's going to become my wife, we've been together for 4 years.
Whoa, spoiler alert. Does she know this?
Oh, yeah, she's aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, we're good. So with that, what I really learned in this relationship that I had never had before is that you want to grow with your partner, not grow separately from your partner. And so what I mean from that is that we'll have fights, there'll be arguments, there'll be disagreements, like things will happen, but we talk about it and improve on that. I think in failed relationships, a lot of the time with that self-reflection, we don't spend that time to really think, okay, what did I do wrong here? What did I do wrong there? When I'm thinking back, like I'm even just thinking back to a few relationships that I've had, every single time I always thought like, okay, like, well, what caused this to end? Because realistically, unless she did something completely heinous, girls break up with guys more often than guys break up with girls. So it typically is something you did wrong. And so if you can think back to each of those relationships and pick those things out, then that's how you can find a relationship like the one that I have now that is successful and you're growing with the person instead of, making all those mistakes.
Yeah. Did you by the chance use the P word, Huds? Are you a P word person?
What's the P word?
Partner. She's my partner. Okay. Anyway, I'm not.
Yeah,
gonna...
I am. I'm totally, and I won't back down from saying that. Yeah, she's my partner. Like, I don't have an issue with it. I think it's funny that
just busting your balls, man. Just bust your balls.
Good.
Mike Steele, same question. What role does self-reflection play in understanding the dynamics of a failed relationship?
Oh boy. It's definitely a critical role. Man, the thing I want to talk about may not be related to the question, though. It's more related to what have I reflected on for my past relationships. So I could either go into that, or we can wait till you come around and actually get a bit more specific if you'd like.
No, go for it.
I have been self-reflecting recently on the concept of maybe my relationships they haven't failed per se. I guess maybe we should define relationship failure at some point during the show, but for the most part, I have ended them. but I've done it because I've realized, why did I even start this relationship or whatever it was, situationship? Why did I even start it if I knew there wasn't going to be anything worthwhile to come out of it? And that's on me.
Yeah.
Why did I even start?
Can't the answer sometimes just be fun?
Yeah.
I went like, you don't have to overthink it. You don't like, not every girlfriend has to end up being your long-term relationship or your wife. You know, sometimes they serve a purpose in their own way.
But what has happened the past couple times is in their head, and maybe it's self-delusion, or maybe I gave them the indication otherwise, they thought it was going to go somewhere more serious and it was going to last forever. And then I have to inform them, no, it's not. And then as their anxiety increases, their was it the comfort testing, and the just escalates and escalates and escalates, and the hamster wheel goes out of control. And then they just go neurotic, and they're like, oh my God, please don't leave me, please don't leave me, please don't leave me. It's blowing up my phone, walls of text, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you. And at the end of the day, I just have to be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, but still, that's on them, because if you put it out, if you go through the relationship, right, or go through the situationship, if you want to call it, I hate that term too, but if you go through this dating and she's trying to lock you down and you don't want to be locked down, and you let her know, hey, look, I like the way things are. If we could keep going, if you want, if you decide it's not serving you, then, you know, I understand, and that's on them. You know, I wouldn't take ownership of that necessarily.
Or, but is it my ownership to take? Because nothing made me start dating them in the first place.
Yeah, but I think you're beating yourself up for nothing. You know, I don't know. Let's the guy who's been in the space longer than any of us. What do you think about this, Thor?
What do I think about self-reflection? Well, self-reflection is a really important quality to have. And most people don't do it because we're sleepwalking through life. Essentially, you know, some of the most famous men in our space talk about this. They talk about the fact that you're essentially a victim of this slave mind of comfort, and it becomes lazy. So you just follow the crowd. It's easy to follow all the ants in the right direction if you're getting what you want. It's harder to break away and do self-reflection. A lot of guys self-reflect when they have relationship problems because, you know, they become afraid, they become lonely. This is normal. The girls do this too. And there are self-reflection exercises that every man should be equipped with to be a healthy man. Not to sidetrack too much, and I won't get too much in it, but I'll set the tone for future conversation on this. It was just revealed last year. Most people, when they're thinking, have what's called a conscience, or an id, or a super id, or it's that little third voice in your head that you bounce things off. Does everybody here has an inner monologue, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So inner monologue is important to self-reflection. Well, it looks like science has looked into this. And just last year, just over 50% of people, all people, do not have that inner monologue available.
Oh my God. When I found that out, that blew my mind.
That creeps me out. I'm like, then how do you sing a song to yourself?
It kind of enforces simulation theory, does it not? Non-player character. You realize that at least half of us have a superpower that goes beyond anything out there. You have a third-party observer or mentor built into your system. It's biased towards you, but you can make it to where it is not biased to you. If you go too far on the bias scale, you now have somebody that's saying you're toxic, you're shameful, you don't deserve anything. So this is a full-on cheat code for how you can think and set up performance and cognition in the future. This inner monologue that I call the third-party observer or the internal mentor, when I mention my book, is hypercritical to you setting discipline, because it's going to be the inner monologue that says, get the F out of bed, start walking, get some blood flowing. Yeah, you know what? That goddamn thing hurts because you're fucked up and you messed yourself up. But it just means you're alive and you're still feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
So What are you going to do about it? You going to cry? Sure. Go ahead and cry about it. Cry to your old lady. Cry to here. Cry to there. Feel better now? No. Okay. Got it out of your system. Let's go. Who's going to tell you that if you don't have that inner monologue or third party observer? And the best thing you can do to develop this mentor is to read, listen to audiobooks, start filling your mind with information. It doesn't mean just any information, but information is the lifeblood of this third party observer for self-reflection. I have more exercises as we go through this, because this is an area that I really firmly believe where once a man understands his inner monologue, he basically has life on lock and doesn't realize it at that point. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because I just wanted to open the floor up. Part of self-reflection to me is that inner monologue that not even 50% of people have.
Yeah. I'll add to that, because that's been what my topics have been lately on my podcast. Is really every NLP book I've read, every law of attraction book I've read, every kind of self-help, mental trauma release or whatever book I've read, all comes down to awareness of your own thoughts. And most people walk around completely unaware of their own thoughts. They just let their emotions rule them. And so once you get to a place, and work with someone like me as a coach, read your own self-help books, come to that awareness on your own, maybe, then you're absolutely right, Thor. It becomes a superpower, because now once you're aware of your own thinking, now whether you're thinking positive or negatively, it now becomes a choice.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're like, oh, I have no choice. I have no agency. They can't self-reflect because they're not even aware. So it's like, okay, it all comes down to awareness. And once you're aware, now it's a choice.
Mm-hmm. And this third party observer thing, Paul and the rest of the guys, is so easy to reflect on. Let's say you're a guy watching this and you need to reflect on where you're at in your life, whatever the circumstances may be. You'll be asking yourself honest questions, which most of us won't answer honest questions because we have ego protections. You can see this in relationships all the time. People refuse to think that relationships are transactional, yet all of them are. We only go with what's useful in exchange. It's just how we're built. But you can ask yourself questions. I know, Paul, you're big into affirmations, so am I, but you start asking yourself questions like, okay, here's this issue. Do I have any pride that I'm injecting here? Am I being aggressive? I mean, you can ask yourself so many different things. What am I passionate about when it comes to these issues? And you don't have to analyze your entire life to your childhood. I think that's actually rather fruitless and harmful. Just take the incident as it is in the brief history that's going on with whatever you're reflecting on, and look for habits. Are you doing things that keep coming up? You can't control other people. All you have is yourself. So we're only going to look at yourself. Am I congruent with how I'm communicating? Do I have loyalty to this situation? Is that causing an issue? What about my stewardship of this relationship? I mean, sometimes it's hard to think of all of these things on the cuff. But, get one of our workbooks or one of the blank books off Gumroad and start writing these things down. You can use the quick reference guides that I have. Paul's book is amazing, but it will get you started. And one of the big ones after stewardship is awareness. Am I sleepwalking through this thing? Is it easy? Don't want it to be easy. Am I being too nice? Paul's going to know all about this. I mean, because if you're that guy that believes in happy wife, happy life, and you are working for her happiness, I'm going to make her happy and give her a happy life. You're actually going to give her a crappy life. And one filled with contempt.
Yeah.
As you go through this journey, you'll figure it out. Yeah.
I'm listening. I'm just going to say just real quick. I'm listening to a book right now called Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins, I believe his name is. Ooh. And it talks, this is 100% what it's about. It's like when these emotions come up in your life, it's all those emotions, a lot of them come from your paradigm, from your subconscious mind, from your programming. A lot of that's built in your childhood. But if you don't try to repress or suppress those emotions, right, and actually just feel them for a minute and go, okay, why do I feel this way? Like, what's the goal here, right? Sometimes that'll lead you down a path of, well, I'm feeling this way because I'm anxious about this. Well, why am I anxious about that? And it leads you down this path of not trying to get rid of the emotions or dampen them or hide them. You're literally thinking through them. And once you think through them enough, you're going to feel lighter because you're going to work through why it's a big problem. And then you're going to realize it's not a big deal. Right. And you're going to let it go.
Yeah. I know you're a big fitness guy, Paul. Me too. I use my fitness to push myself into a spot. You know how you get the adrenaline, endorphin rush?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, you hit that wall while you're exercising and then you push past it. There's an opportunity right there. And right after you finish, I think, to self-reflect. I will do it in my sauna if I can, but I'll get past that point where I know I can't go any further. And then I go a little bit more and then I'm done. And then there's a moment there where I get some clarity after I get my breath back. Do you find exercise helps with this as well?
Yes.
When I'm out running, I get my best ideas when I'm running, because my mind wanders about different things. Like Mike and I both work in the same industry. Sometimes you have a problem that comes up and you just can't figure it out. You're like, there's no reason why this shouldn't work. Why isn't this working? I'll go for a run. And I'll be listening to audiobooks, but my mind's wandering about this problem, and I'll come up with solutions while I'm running. And I'm like, oh shit, that's it. That's the ticket. I'll come back to my desk. I'll go try it out. And it's like, oh, wow. So like it gives you clarity. It gives you time to think about stuff.
I'll also lay out a scenario before I go to sleep, because sometimes I like to listen to stuff before I go to sleep. And I pretend, I'm a kid, that I'm going to have a dream about this particular issue. And I'm going to meet my mentor there, who is some kind of divine mentor, and they're going to help me. I don't dream anything about it, but I will wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and have one hell of a cool idea that I got to write down and get shit done.
Yeah.
So
for me, it's when I'm lifting weights, because I do it very, very slowly to get the full stretch and the full burn and everything. And when you're doing one rep and you're taking several seconds to do one rep, that several seconds can feel like forever, especially if you're near the tail end of your sets. And so that pain, that's a great time to self-reflect, because you want to get your mind off that pain. So you just kind of like push past it, be like, oh, but what about that time I did? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. And 50, we're done.
Yeah, that's a good way to. Did any of you guys use the mirror method? Where you look yourself right in the mirror so you get real honest, you can't look away?
I do that with that. I do that with affirmations sometimes, because if you look at yourself in the mirror and you use you statements, you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
I can't do that, Thor, because if I look in the mirror, I get aroused and it's distracting. So
Laurent, you want to say something? You're on mute, by the way.
Good morning, gentlemen. All this self-talk, I think that 100% of the people have it. Maybe 50% of us are not aware of it. And you were talking about the mirror. It's interesting. How do you answer when, am I good enough? And the mirror says, no, my man, you're not. I'm a millionaire. The mirror retorts back, no, you're not. So there's a part of self-talk that we can fix, and self-talk is very important. All right, I
use a way around that on the mirror, because that does come up, and you'll find this. Ask the guys in Mind Crystals too. I will go over that, and if that comes up, I go into the Socratic method of asking questions of myself back. There's no answers, so that sets that up. And the next thing I do, I could talk about it later, is the superhero method, where I'm viewing myself and actually visualizing myself as that slightly below average God amongst men in those scenarios. Believe it or not, those answers start to show up. They start to visualize over time. But I found those two is the good response when I get stuck like that, particularly if there's trauma involved.
I know a way too. Because what happens is, right, we have I did a whole PowerPoint on this on Wednesday. You guys should check it out. But the way our subconscious works, right? Like when you're a baby, you're basically a walking subconscious mind. And at some point, in your development, you develop this psychic barrier over the subconscious that protects that paradigm programming, and then you develop a conscious mind on top of that. So any kind of information that comes in, if it doesn't align with if it's not in harmony with your paradigm, that psychic barrier, we call it a critical factor in NLP, will reject it, right? It'll say, no, that's not true. That's not true. And it can be, and you can know from a conscious perspective that this is possible for me. This is possible. But if it doesn't align with your paradigm, you'll reject it. So there's different ways of getting around that. And one of them is if you're saying affirmations to yourself, if you stack affirmations that are from the past that are true, that you know are true, stuff from the present that you know are true, right? Then you can interlock things in the future that you want to change in between those. And what it does is it confuses that critical factor, and it allows it right into the subconscious mind. You won't reject it. Another way is if you listen to affirmations right before you go to bed and even while you're sleeping, because right before you go to bed and while you're sleeping, your mind's in gamma, and it's basically just pure subconscious at that point, and it just seeps right in there. So you go ahead and add to this, because you and Ryan Fowler do a lot of work on this.
Yeah, precisely. So the difficulty for me, I mean, for instance, in my work of trading, was always to access the subconscious mind, and consciously access the subconscious is not easy, because by definition, this is a mechanism that covers its own tracks. So self-deception is a built-in mechanism within all of us. By the way, I really love this book that you're reading, like Letting Go by David Hawkins. I've read it 3 times. And the simple idea of when something, the reason why I'm going to talk about it later, but how to access the subconscious mind and how to access the I'm not good enough is precisely what Ryan Fowler works on. It's basically a feeling tied to an emotion, a belief tied to a painful feeling. So if you feel it, then you can debug your brain. Literally debug your brain. Remove that bug that was created in your childhood or whatnot, and it's been stratified over the years. And then your brain runs bug-free, and it's liberating. I mean, it's not your garden variety hypnosis. It's intense. Trying to elicit the painful feeling is intense, but it works. And to come back now on David Hawkins, what I really like, it's similar, very similar to what Rand Fowler does, is the reason why good emotions are transient and the bad emotions tend to linger is because we let the good emotions flow through us, and we sort of push away, repress, or cling to the painful emotions, and they can't go away. So what he encourages us to do is paradoxical. Just feel it. Really feel it in your body. Where do you feel it? And really concentrate on it. Not the why, not the rumination. Just concentrate on the emotion. And then allow it to flow through your body. Really powerful method. Really like it a lot.
Yeah, it's actually so simple, because there's a saying, right, in what you resist persists, right? And so a lot of us are resisting these negative emotions, so they stick around more. But if you just say, one of the things he says in that book is, if you just feel it, it's going to be gone in about 20 minutes, right? But if you sit there and resist it, you're going to ruminate about all these problems for days, weeks, months on end. Yes. About this thing, right? But if you just sit there and think about it for a minute, it's gone in 20 minutes. It's a much faster process to get through some of these mental barriers. So we're getting back on self-reflection, though. Guys, let me see. Let's throw this over to Mike. Mike, I want you to think about this. How can you identify patterns in your past relationships that may indicate you're the common denominator?
That's gotten easier as I've gotten older. And it's if the other people exhibit similar responses. So if, let's see, what's an example? I can't pull one off the top of my head right now, but let's just create an example, shall we? let's just say whenever you get busy at work, whatever girl you're seeing cries more. Okay, so why is she doing that? And if she associates words with that, like maybe she feels uncared for or unloved, or maybe she calls you mean, you can tell she's hurt, and she's trying to be respectful. Like, she's not trying to call you names or anything like that. She's actually being constructive. Like, it hurts me when you do XYZ. If you can correlate, every time I get busy at work, my girl cries and she says I'm doing XYZ and it's hurting her feelings. And the past 4 women have done this. Okay, now, what do I become when I'm busy at work? Do I start to change? Do I talk differently? Do I prioritize things differently? Do I become less personable? Do I become more stoic to the point where I'm almost like an uncaring machine? That's what I use, is when the patterns of behavior exhibited by other people back to me are the same. That's an indicator of I'm doing something to get that response out of all these people, because they're different people and I'm the common denominator. So if they're all exhibiting the same response every time I get busy at work, then what am I doing when I get busy at work to trigger that response from people?
The common denominator. Sounds like a PUA thing. Perfect, Mike. Common denominator. Good deal.
Denominator. So I just want to comment on that, and then we'll play a mid-roll ad here. But I noticed that was something I was doing as well. And like I mentioned before, Mike and I are in the same industry. It gets really stressful. Sometimes we're face down, we're troubleshooting, we're trying to figure out problems, and the whole world's on our back because, everyone wants the systems working. And so, man, there was one day, I know this was the beginning of the end of my relationship with Red Pill Chick. I know this specific moment was the beginning of the end. This was 2 years before the relationship ended, but we were supposed to go to her grandma's funeral, right? And she wanted me to only work half a day so that we could get ready and leave. And she was working a half a day, and we were going to get ready and leave and head down to the funeral. And I work from home, so I'm like, I got time. I don't need to ask for PTO. I don't need to do any of this stuff. And so when she got home, I was still face down working on a problem. And she was like pissed at me that I didn't do that. And I turned to her and snapped, because that's how I get sometimes when I'm working on something and I don't want to be bothered. I turned to her and snapped. I said, "This pays my bills. Your grandma's funeral doesn't pay my bills."
Oh, shit.
That was the end of that relationship. And then I realized, I realized through self-reflection, over the past few years working on myself, I did that in a lot of different relationships. I did that a lot with my ex-wife. I did that a lot with my parents and stuff. It's something I still struggle with, but I try to be more conscious and aware of it now. So like when Nurse Chick comes, I try to be a little bit different. I try to realize that a lot of times when women, Nurse Chick never complains about anything, for one, so that's amazing. But when she comes up and she wants to interrupt me in the middle of work, she's not trying to interrupt me. She just wants to let me know that she loves me and she's thinking about me, and she needs a little bit of my presence in that moment. And so I just stop what I'm doing. I give her my presence, and then I get back to work, and she's totally cool, So it's like that was something I had to work on. But let me play this here. We're talking a lot about self-reflection and being aware of our actions and our thoughts and stuff like that. A lot of things that a lot of guys don't realize is that they suffer from nice guy syndrome. A lot of it is because of this stuff. A lot of it's toxic shame, paradigms that don't serve them, and you can break free from that. A lot of this kind of stuff will help you in your future relationships if you could just break free from that. So let me play an ad. Because I do offer one-on-one coaching for this sort of thing. I am a master NLP practitioner. And what I'm doing, since I started practicing this with my coaching clients, I'm seeing some really serious transformations in them. And a lot of it's just them reprogramming ideas or emotions or ideas or concepts that just don't serve them. So let me play an ad for that, and then we'll get back to this. Do you ever feel like you're stuck trying to please everyone, yet you're not getting the respect or the success that you deserve? You're not alone. Many men suffer from what's known as nice guy syndrome, hiding their true selves in a quest for acceptance and approval. But what if you could break free from this cycle? What if you could be assertive, confident, and truly successful in your relationships, career, and life? Hi, I'm Paul Bauer, a certified master life coach and certified master NLP practitioner. I've helped countless men overcome nice guy syndrome by guiding them to discover their authentic selves and embrace their true potential. Through personalized coaching and powerful NLP techniques, I can help you unlock the confidence and assertiveness you need to thrive. Transform your life today. Become the man you were always meant to be. Confident, successful, direct, and true to yourself. Ready to take the first step towards a better you? Contact me today and let's work together to break free from the limitations of nice guy syndrome. Visit coaching.comeonmanpod.com to book a call with me right now. Take control of your life and start experiencing the success that you deserve.
Now,
what do you got, Mike? What do you got? I saw that in the private chat.
yeah, okay. So I want you to that thing you said, the red pill chick about the work and the funeral thing. I want you to repeat that in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, come on. Don't put me on the spot like that.
Put you out.
Okay, yeah. This pays my bills. Your grandma's funeral doesn't pay the bills. Are we going to try to clip this? Is that what we're doing? All right. You put me on the spot, dude. I couldn't do it. All right.
But that's I guess that is a line that a millionaire in a movie like that can get away with saying, and all the guys will be like, oh, what a cool dude, man. I want to be just like that. I want to just be like Gordon. I want to be just like, Scarface. But in reality, remember, Scarface gets shot.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't work, right? Like that, and a lot of people think that's what red pill is, right? Oh, you put your girl in her place and you fucking tell her that stuff. It doesn't work, man. Like that, there's much better things to do. And honestly, it was my fault because I told her I would be ready, right? So that's self-reflection. It's my fault. It's my fault.
Ownership.
Yeah. All right. So we were talking about identifying patterns in your past relationship that may indicate you're the common denominator. Huds, I'm going to throw that over to you. How can you identify those patterns?
Yeah. So when I'm thinking about past relationships, I always think of, okay, why did we break up? Why did things not work out? And the first one that's coming to mind is because I kept cheating on her and we didn't have that agreement that things could be open at the start. So no shit. I need to have transparency in my relationships. There was another that was a lot of missed boundaries. So it really taught me about boundary setting because she was that was the girl that, oh man, that's a whole story in and of itself. I'm not going to dive into that, but she ended up getting me arrested, and it was a whole mess. So that really taught me boundary setting because she had to be by my side literally 24/7. So with each and every one of these relationships, I've kind of noticed that it was almost like sharpening a knife, where I began as a dull butter knife, and then each time as I'm going along, I'm getting reshaped to the point that I have a perfectly happy, healthy relationship now, and I'm able to do so because I sharpened everything about this knife so that now it's a very, very sharp blade. So that's really what I want to say on it is you just need to look back on, okay, what went wrong, but don't ask the question what went wrong. Ask, what did I do that has any type of impact on this end result?
Ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's one thing that I think is going to be a massive theme through this episode is, yeah, the other person, like we're not saying, because one of the things that tradcons like to do, I'll get to you in a second, Laurent. A lot of things that tradcons do is they like to have guys take full ownership of all failure in all relationships. Like, we're not saying that. Like, they obviously probably did some bad stuff. Like, I'm sure of it, right? But you can't change other people. So what about that could you have done better? You know, maybe you did everything right and they're just a bitch. You know, that's possible too, right? Laurent, you wanted to say something?
We made by familiarity. So we often made by familiarity. What does it mean? It means that very often we bring our past into our future and we try to either avoid it, recreate it, or heal it, change it. Typically, we the person we choose to mate with is somebody that, oh, it's a familiar pattern. We're attracted to what we're accustomed to. So very often we're attracted to the people we saw in our childhood, and we either recreate what we saw with our parents, or either we try to change and heal it, which is probably why for a lot of us our relationships are problematic to begin with. We work with subconscious issues, not even aware of them, and then, oh damn, it was so toxic. So the first marriage for a lot of guys and girls is very often something that they saw. And I remember, like, once I had a friend who told me, like, dude, you always date the same kind of hoes. It's just the same hoe with a different name each time. Like, damn, and it hit me like a ton of brick. And I was wondering, oh, why do I cycle through so many so fast? And it's just because I was attracted to a certain type of certain patterns. And I found, for instance, the good girl, the really nice, wholesome girl, I found them boring. Because what I had in me, I didn't work through my issues. What I had in me was not exactly good either. So I kept on attracting the same type of chicks. And only when somebody made me aware of this did I finally start to change.
Yeah, you'll find that you will date the same woman with a different face in every relationship until you work on your paradigm. There's a story in No More Mr. Nice Guy that I read yesterday. This guy, his dad was an alcoholic, abusive guy. He would molest his daughters and stuff. And this guy at 14 took ownership of basically raising his siblings because of it. His mom was manic depressive. When she was manic, she was like on top of the world, and she would get involved in sexually destructive relationships. When she was depressive, she wanted to unalive herself. And she would threaten to unalive herself in front of the kids all the time. And so he had to one time bust through a door and take a gun out of her hands, right? Like all this kind of stuff. Guess what kind of women he was attracted to?
Ones just like her.
Incest survivors and manic depressive women, right? Because he became a woman saver, right? A Captain Save-A-Ho, because that's what he was raised to be. And it's like it becomes almost like your job security mental model. Like, if I don't have anyone to save, I have no purpose in life. And it's like it's such a toxic mental model, and you will keep getting those types of women until you work through that stuff and you reprogram that subconscious paradigm. We have a super chat here. This is a very important super chat.
Très important.
Is Laurent French? Hey, well, Laurent, you're French, right?
You're muted.
Yes. Oui, je suis français. I come from New Caledonia, which is a French colony close to Australia, between Australia and New Zealand. So yes, I am. And if the question is,
explain to me this, Mr. Frenchman. What the hell was last night's Olympic opening ceremony all about?
I mean, some of it was good, like the laser show was good. But the woke stuff, like the Last Supper stuff, like why? This was a disgrace.
I don't watch the Olympics, so I don't know.
We won't hold it against you.
Hold on, we got to give this guy an Odin horn. Hold on.
Oh, hey, I got something for that Olympics that suits it. Let's see.
Oh, hold on. Do I have loop turned on?
Oh, let's see if I
There we go. Got to turn that off.
I got an epic quote I just added. Let's see here. Hang on. Come on.
What do you got? What do you got, Thor? You
I
got
have Elon Musk making one hell of a statement, which is pertinent to everything here.
okay.
So let me see if I can find him. It's pretty jarring, actually, to listen to him. Let's see, Elon. Well, I guess we'll just have to move on because I didn't have it queued.
All right. Well, we'll keep looking for it. We will ask. Let's go over to Huds here. How do you deal with fear of being at fault in a relationship, Huds? Fear of fucking
Fear of being
because a
fault.
lot of guys when they're like they get into a new relationship, they're afraid of fucking it up. Oh man, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to fuck this up.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, and this was maybe the final one as I was talking about sharpening that knife. Maybe this was the final lesson I needed to learn to land in this what I would honestly call like a perfect relationship was transparency. And now what I mean by that is if we are supposed to be a team, then the other partner or the other half of that team should know what's going on. So that's ask me the question again. I want to make sure that I sculpt this right because it is a
How do you deal with fear of being at fault in a relationship?
right. Okay. And so with that transparency and that full honesty about what went on, how you were feeling, why you reacted a certain way, if you can do that, then there's nothing to hide and there's nothing to harbor inside. And if the other person is able to receive and understand that and respect that and work with you to continue to build, then it's absolutely perfect. So that fear, I think, is fear of rejection. It's fear that, you know, if they're wrong, then the other person is going to go away. But then that also leads to people that excessively apologize, which isn't good either. I mean, own up to all your mistakes, but it's that transparency of how you were feeling, why you did something, and how you perceived the action. If you're able to have those types of conversations with your partner, then
How dare you?
everything works out so much better. And I tell you, it's crazy. I'm 100% transparent with my girl on everything,
Me
even
too.
on some of the most embarrassing stuff.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
But you know, that's amazing because most people can't go there for their ego. You're tracking dead on, and this is where a lot of folks get in trouble and start becoming the victim. It's their fault. I always date narcissists, you know. It's that perception. I found the Elon Musk. It fits right in. Here is perception on how Elon Musk felt about perception as it's been expanded to encompass human evil. Listen.
I say what I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good. Fuck them. Okay?
The perception of it is more important. Now, the reason I brought that up is to Huds' point is that when I was a little boy, sign language was not the number way that we were taught to communicate. This was something that was evolved out of the church and became extremely popular in the late 60s. There's not too many that are old enough to realize that Summer of Love, all of those things, the rebellion of the hippies, I'll tell you, all of that stuff was about perception of doing good. And it was, I think it did a lot of evil. You know, it created sign language, which is shaming, insulting, guilting, and the extreme need to be right when you are communicating with somebody else, regardless of whether it's an intersexual relationship or not. Just open your eyes, open your ears, and listen, and you'll see it creep into your own relationships, just like Huds had just mentioned right there, you know, as he was communicating, which is a little off, but I think it suits with where he was going. It tracks. When you're self-reflecting, be aware of sign language you might be using, because that will instigate this perception thing where you're more interested in her perception than what objective reality is. We always say in the Red Pill, we should leave people better off having met us than never having met us.
Mm-hmm.
That's that rising tide philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So I'll say this about fear with being in fear or living in fear. Living in fear in general doesn't serve you. Doesn't serve you at all. And a lot of and almost everything that holds you back in life is some form of living in fear. So if you're living in constant fear, walking on eggshells that you're going to somehow be at fault in your relationship, you're gonna act like a supplicating beta male in your relationship. So really, it comes down to frame. And one mental model that I learned from the legendary Rhinestone. Fuck that guy. He's got perfect teeth in 3 fucking books. One thing I learned from him is the mental model of relationships are her job. Right. And now that triggers a lot of people when you say that. But when you think about it, we often say in this space too that men are the gatekeepers to relationship, women are the gatekeepers to sex. Well, if you own that gatekeeper to the relationship, then it does become her job. Right. Now, your job is to be the best fucking guy you can be the kind of guy that she wants to be in a relationship with. Sure. Right. But worrying about whether she wants to stay in that relationship, that's her job. And if you put that onus on her and at least think about it that way, you won't be in fear. You won't live in fear of fucking this up, I would worry about just trying to be the best person that you can be. That's something to worry about, but that's a positive note, right? That's a goal to achieve. Go ahead, Laurent.
Thor was mentioning something really interesting, the need to be right. So how do you balance the need to be right with ownership or taking responsibility for what happens in your life? That's a question.
Wait, so you're asking a question? Say that again.
Yeah. To the panel, to the wisdom of the panel.
Oh, can you ask it again though?
Okay, sure. So Thor was mentioning the need to be right, which is ego protection. It boils down to ego protection. How do you balance the need to be right with the imperative of taking responsibility for 100% of the stuff that happens in your life?
It's pretty simple. It's what we talked about before, the rising tide being the rising tide, leaving somebody better off having met you than having not met you. So essentially, you can subvert your need to be right to know that you're leaving them better off, even if they don't like the information that you transmitted. Believe it or not, you may be dating a young woman. She's had a lot of short/long-term relationships, and she's complaining to you that all of her exes are narcissists, they're problems, they're this, they're that. And it sounds on the surface like it's different. You're perceiving it as different, and she's right. And for some reason, her picker's wrong, and all of these things are there. And you might, with compassion, actually point out to her, if she asks for the advice, that it's actually the way she handles herself when in conflict. And if you do that, she may not like it. She may not like it a lot, but you just plant the seed that 4 months down the line, she is better off having heard that in her next relationship, even though it might not be with you. You did something good. You lifted that tide. And you may never know it. And you have to be satisfied with that when you're self-reflecting. And that actually creates a lot of fulfillment, just imagining that could be the case. And believe it or not, years later, I've run into people that have talked to me about stuff that I have forgotten. And that is very fulfilling. Very.
For me, I ask myself, does my need to be right line up with my core values?
That's good.
Is it opposite, or is it just over here and inconsequential? So an example of where my need to be right would line up with core values would be something like, let's say hypothetically, I get married, I have some kids, things are going great, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, my wife decides, hey, we should transition our son. That would be a point in time where my need to be right is the only thing that matters, because it would be in perfect alignment with my values. It'd be like, no, we're not.
No, it's not even right. You're the leader of that family, and so you're the tide. You just don't let it come in. It's not even a need to be right. We're just not going there.
Well, again, this is a hypothetical. This has not happened. This will probably never happen because, you know, I don't see myself getting with a woman who would even think about doing something like that. The thought of that should abhor her.
Right.
But that's where an example of the need to be right lines up with a value. Where it does not, it's just like, how do you load the dishwasher? Honey, I don't care.
Now let's say
the dishes clean?
Yeah, let's just say you're having a conversation with a woman you're not in a relationship with, and she has these ideas about transitioning children that she might have.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a very different conversation. She's doing the sign language. You're aware of it. But because you have these skills and these self-reflection skills, knowing that you want to leave her better off, you aren't necessarily going in conflict with her to create that argument that everybody wants to have today because they think that's normal interaction. You're going to surprise the situation because you're going to stop that, and you're going to strategically plant seeds and be patient and let her fill in the gap with her hamster wheel. And I will tell you, I talked about this on Rule Zero before, watching extreme liberal Democrat in the family take the Jesus pill. And it was, and I've seen it more than once, and just from small seeds planted. Not that that's for everybody, but a lot of people need leadership. And if you plant those seeds right, you become a transformational leader, and they don't even know it that you're doing this with them.
Well, a big one is going to be how long are we in this hypothetical relationship where she starts bringing something like that up. If it's 1 month, I'd be like, yeah, I'm never doing that to my kids, and I will not allow it to happen. Versus 2 years in, be like, why do you think that's a good idea? You know, and just kind of lead her to the natural conclusion as directed by evolution. Rather than trying to drill it into her head, I'm right. You know, that's done a little bit differently.
If my sound's wrong, put it in the chat. I have a new wireless system, so we're still adjusting. Thank you.
It sounds good, better now. Did you do something different?
I did. I dropped it by a level.
Okay. Yeah. For whatever reason, it was like fluctuating. So.
Well, I got the little square on here.
Yeah.
But it really needs the lavalier in the same spot every time.
Yeah. Let's go with this next question here, and then we'll. Look who is just fucking showing up.
Who is that?
Oh, hey, stranger! What the fuck? And he's frozen now.
I'm not frozen.
Yeah,
I'm still here. I'm not frozen. You guys are frozen.
Your audio's good though. So
that's good.
Okay,
that's good.
Hey, son.
What's going on? So I was trying to get out the door.
Happy birthday, you old fuck.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I was trying to get out the door to get up there, to head up there to you. And you're like, come on. I'm like, okay, I'll just jump on. Here I go.
No worries. I know your schedule. I'll be there at 11 o'clock. Hey, I'm on time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, are you a killer with that assault rifle yet?
Man, I have to sweep
That's
up.
not fun.
I have to sweep up so much fucking salt now.
I bought my Viking son a birthday present. It's just fun as shit. Tell him what it is, man.
It's a fucking fly killing salt gun.
Like, those are fun.
Oh yeah,
it's literally a flying assault rifle.
It works.
Sodium chloride. Yeah.
Yeah, it works on your annoying brothers too. You can shoot them, and it's just like.
Is it better than a fly swatter? Because like,
Way better.
Because they can't detect because the problem with the fly swatter is they can usually detect the wind change,
the air
and then they
change,
and they move.
Let me tell you how good I am with killing flies.
Out of the air.
I could kill flies with the towel, like a rat. Like just make a little. I snap them out of the air.
That's the best way. That's the best way to do it.
Mid-flight, target destroyed. You know, so the gun makes it much more easier and fun. You know, but now I gotta sweep up a bunch of salt.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Well, I just learned something about you, Glenn. When it comes to the towel, I am definitely never going to be in a locker room with you.
Oh yeah, no, your balls will be fucked up. Like I would snap the shit out of your nuts. It'll be black and blue for a reason. Dead ass, serious. Like my wife hates it. Like I snap her all the time. She's mad at me.
So we got we have a super chat here from another one from Chuck the Painter, and I think this goes back to Laurent being French, but he goes, as a French metalhead, I'd say Gojira, but hey, cheers from Picardy. Let me give him this one. I think I turned the loop off. Oh, hold on. Let's do that again.
We're supposed to read it in a horrible French accent.
Oh, my bad, Mike. You want to put that back up and read it in a French accent?
Yes. Chouk le Petra with the €5 super chat. As a French metalhead, I'd say Goya, but hey, she is from Picardy. Oh.
Laurent, are you offended? Are you offended by that terrible impression?
If I was not a cold-hearted financier, if there was not ice running through my vein, if I could have this unprofitable thing they call feelings, they might have got hurt.
Sacre les bleus, je déteste les États-Unis.
I'm dead inside. I can't feel. Yeah. So let
Hey,
me.
bonjour à la Picardie. Bonjour à nos amis Picard.
There we go. Let's play a commercial for Thor's book here, and then we'll get back to the topic. Ever feel like the world is trying to make you smaller? That the qualities that used to define you are now something to be ashamed of? It's not just you. For decades, society has been pushing men to fit into a mold that doesn't match who they are. But there's a way out. A path to reclaim what it means to be a man. A Dominant Masculine Presence by R.P. Thor is the guide you've been waiting for. In this book, you'll discover the 7 essential skills that every man needs to stand tall and take control. Learn how to project confidence, master your emotions, and communicate with authority. R.P. Thor takes you through real-life examples, sharing practical techniques to help you develop your own dominant masculine presence. It's time to stop feeling sidelined. Time to step up and lead. With a dominant masculine presence, you can become the man you were meant to be. Order a Dominant Masculine Presence now on Amazon or listen on Audible. Rediscover your strength. Reclaim your life.
Get Thor's book and you too can walk away from explosions.
Fuck yeah.
I need to get that commercial because I need an updated one. I just have the old one.
Get it.
Well, where
I
have you
can
been?
I can
That's
send
the
it to you.
problem
Glenn.
right there.
I can send it to you.
Hey, I got some B-roll of Fitch and MLD and me walking away from an explosion.
Oh, that would be dope.
It's pretty cool.
Play it. Play it.
I don't have it unloaded right now, but
damn it.
those guys came and visited me a couple of weeks ago. We enjoyed the joys of binary thermobaric compounds.
Nice. So the topic today, Glenn Lawrence, is self-reflection. How do you know if you let's see here. No, here's a better question. What are some common mistakes men make in relationships that they may not be aware of?
Good one.
Can we go state the obvious that they blame it's always on her? She's not doing this, but they're not taking into account where they're dropping the ball and how their role factors into like fostering the environment that would make a woman behave a certain way, you know, or that would contribute to a woman being more inclined to behave a certain way. You know, like if you're not leading and then you're complaining about her not being submissive, well, you're not fostering an environment where that she could trust your leadership.
Feel safe.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to bitch about her not being submissive. Well, maybe if you led, then she would be submissive. Right. Yeah. Like, so they don't ever like self-reflect on the fact that they do play a very important role in the beginning and the end of the relationship.
A woman can't follow where a man doesn't lead, right?
Exactly.
A big one that I've noticed is men expecting women to be like men mentally, like be logical and be overt communicators with their feelings and their intentions. Like, why does she just say what she means? Because she's a woman. To quote Jack Napier, because she's a woman.
Yeah. If you want a woman that's more direct, that's more rational, date a dude.
or an army gal.
Tranny. Just get a tranny. Then you're great. You get best of both worlds, right? You get tits and somebody that understands you.
There you go. Exactly.
That's gay, though. That's gay.
Huds knows all about this. Huds, what's your take on this?
On wait, what trannies or?
Yeah.
Well, we do
Take
know
one.
that you're the gay dating coach, so
No. What are some common mistakes men make in a relationship that they may not be aware of? Is the question.
I think it's paying attention to the mistakes they're actually making. To be honest, I truly believe that that's what it is. Like what you were talking about before, where you got frustrated and you snapped at your girl. Okay, well, like, is that a frequent type of behavior, and what are you doing to address that? So I really think that that self-awareness, like not thinking about your own actions and how they affect others, is a big one. And I think another one is that she will always show signs of being upset or getting less happy over time. That like we all know that women decide to break up like 6 months ahead of the time that they actually break up with you.
Up to 2 years sometimes.
Really crazy.
And I don't mean that just because of my situation, right? But that is a very common thing. A lot of women they're mentally checked out up to 2 years. There's lots of case studies on
that.
this.
Is a distant monkey branch. 2 years.
Well, they do, because what they start doing, right, is they start lining up their beta male orbiters. They start socking money away. They start planning their exit strategy. Yep. And the thing is, sometimes they can't get a guy that they like within that 2 year period. So they just stick it out with you until they can find a guy that they can monkey branch to. And so that's why sometimes it takes too long.
Yeah. And one thing I want to say on that
in the background.
Yeah.
I moved my stream deck. Sorry.
One thing I want to say with that is we as human beings are creatures of habit. So guys, pay attention when the habits or the typical day-to-day types of things are changing. Yeah. When things start to change, it usually is a sign of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a bunch of those things that I have listed if you want to come to become durable. But yeah, a big primary one is just subtle contempt. When you're having a normal conversation, there'll be a little bit of contemptuous argument for no reason. That's a big sign to start looking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, most guys have their blinders on. They think everything's hunky dory. They're like, yeah, she's just kind of being, she's becoming a little bit of a bitch, but no big deal. That's just what women do, right? Because every girlfriend that you've ever dated has become a bitch eventually. At
the 18-month mark, yeah.
Right, it's crazy.
But that tends to be like the first big tell that you're about to break up soon. Is that like when she's a bitch and you're like, oh yeah, it's just normal. All women are bitches. Well, no, all women that you broke up with become bitches. You notice that? Like that's like the contributing factor, right?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of guys don't realize that, right? One of my mentors is Corey Wayne. He's got an essay on this called "Beware of the Bitchy Woman." Yeah. And a lot of that is the fact that you've been consistently failing shit tests. You've been consistently not setting boundaries. You've been consistently not holding frame, and she just doesn't trust your leadership abilities anymore. Now she's becoming resentful because now she's in charge of the relationship, because there is no equality in a relationship. Someone's got to lead. That's why there's no partnerships. Fuck you, Huds.
Partnerships are for, I'll be honest with you, partnerships are for gay people. Straight up. Only the gays.
That's why I'm the best gay dating coach.
That's why I agree.
Businessmen.
For molecules.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I just thought that was a good opportunity to throw a jab at Huds.
That's funny.
We love Huds, actually. Huds is good. All right, let's well, we like him as a friend. So
he's our orbiter.
Let's see here. What do we got here? How do you know if you're genuinely ready to be in a healthy relationship? Are you ready for this?
See, I think that's a good question. And I don't think many people actually take the time to really assess if they are ready. They get caught up in the feels, right? They're in the happy-go-lucky, ooh, I feel this, like I like it, everything feels, but are you not bringing, like, how much baggage are you bringing into this? Have you assessed your own luggage? Like, I mean, you're very clear on like vetting her for her luggage, but have you vetted yourself yet first? Are you in the position where like I could be with this woman? I could see myself with this, committed to this woman. And if you haven't yet vetted yourself yet, you're not in the position to vet her. You know, if you haven't even make sure that you meet your own standards for commitment.
That's a good
A
point.
big one is
go ahead, Mike.
If you are no longer lonely and you're no longer craving a relationship. Those are two big ones that some people might say are obvious, but I had to say it because maybe some people don't think they're obvious. Maybe it's obvious to guys like us.
I'm gonna drop cold water on all of it. You're all ready at all times for a relationship. You just might not understand. But us human beings, our nature is to relate with other human beings at every level.
That's deep as
Are
fuck.
we always in ready for a relationship?
Yes.
Are we ready to
Maybe we're ready to have relationships, but maybe not to certain relationships.
Well, if you're just going towards intimacy, I understand, but that pull is a tide. So if you're talking male female, it's going that way, whether you acknowledge it or not.
True.
But even you're open to a relationship with friendship. You are a social creature. You're
well, that's where I was saying, like, maybe open to
always
like
open to these things, kind of like a wolf pack.
Like, I think, like, you know, you may be open to friendships, but maybe the commitment of the certain relationships, you might not be ready. I don't know.
Well,
The difference is,
I'm not going down the moral path. You're open for the relationship.
No, I wasn't going down the moral path. I was just thinking, like, maybe like you haven't dealt with your own problems yet, and if you go into this relationship without dealing with your own trauma, like,
it matters, Glenn, because you see all the effed up relationships. People are always ready for a relationship.
Maybe we're getting to semantics then, right? Because maybe you're ready to be in a relationship, but you're not ready to lead a healthy relationship.
Yeah, to be in a
that's
successful
what I meant. That's what I was.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was meaning.
Yeah, because a lot of what I see a lot of guys do in the space too, right, is they can't be alone. So going to Mike Steele's point, they can't be alone. They get out of a relationship. They immediately try to jump into their next one. Women do this, like that. Women do that. They get into a relationship before ending the last relationship. We call that monkey branching, right?
Yep.
They can't be alone, and they're not ready to do what's necessary to make that next relationship successful. So a more healthful or healthy strategy, I think, for a lot of guys is to, when you end a relationship, take some fucking time and be alone. Learn how to be alone. Learn how to do the self-reflection. Take that time to do the self-reflection so you know what to do better going forward. You know,
well, also take time to mourn the end of the relationship.
You know, I'm all ready for those relationships at all times. Even if we deny it, we wouldn't turn down the opportunity. I mean, look at male sexual nature. Opportunity will not be turned down. You know, even female, the drive for them. What happens to them when they turn 28, 29, 30? Baby rabies is insane. I just watched a special on Netflix where this man donated his sperm and had over 1,000 children, all legal. The women all came to him. Now they want to sue the government, and he had too many children. They all wanted to capitalize as if he victimized them. No relationship whatsoever. He just provided sperm. That's an interesting story as far as all the women wanted relationships, but they actually all wanted to be single moms. It's really crazy. So if you get a chance, check that out.
Did they try to go after him for child support?
Not necessarily. They wanted to go after the socialist government for support, but they made him a demon when actually he did nothing.
He did nothing wrong.
They all came to him. They made it a man problem when it was all a woman problem.
Well, I mean, that's just women in general, right? You know,
well, if you look at it, if you look at their motivation outside of that legal stuff, this is where I was going, why everybody's always open to relationship. They were all single. They didn't have relationships, with the exception of 2 that were married and couldn't have children, looking for a donor. But once they had the child, their mentality completely changed. They wanted to capitalize on this man exclusively. The drive was that strong, which illustrates and reinforces, I think, the fact that, you know, the female drive in this area, in the sexual marketplace, is much larger than they'll ever admit. And they're always ready for this. Always. you could kind of see it in the numbers too. So my thoughts are yeah, maybe I'm not ready for the kind of relationship that I idealize. You know, the idealized one where picket fence, marriage, wonderful,
Yeah.
everything going on. But I'm probably open to the 99% smash and dash, friendship, friends with benefits, whatever it might be, so that I'm not lonely. A human being, even though us men are built to go out on the hunt for months at a time, we're still a brotherhood. We still have those herd needs, and it's strong. It's really strong, stronger than you can imagine. That's why we're sitting here like a bunch of old men, cackling, having our beer and coffee on Saturday, saying "fuck the world," right? it's because I have relationships with all of you, and you have it with me.
Hey, if the world
But
consents,
I'm not
Thor.
married to all you guys, so no, not on the serious idealized relationship. But I think we are actually all open to relationships all the time.
On that note, let's play, since we got Glenn Lawrence back, let's play this, and then let's go ahead and go around the horn.
This episode was brought to you by Tactical Soap from Grondike Soap Company, a game changer in men's grooming. Crafted with natural pheromones, it's designed to elevate your alpha status, masculinity, attractiveness, and charisma. Each bar is meticulously formulated to invigorate your sense and leave you feeling confident and irresistible. Unleash your true potential with Tactical Soap and command attention wherever you go. Order now by using the link in the description of this video.
You might want to drop the link in the chat because I don't know if it's in the description right now.
Oh,
And-
for the soap.
And for the viewers watching, I personally vouch for this product. I have used the soap, the deodorant, and the God of War beard oil. Guys, even when I don't have a beard, I still use the God of War beard oil. I put a little dab in my sideburns because it works, guys. Read the description on the website to know what I'm talking about.
All right, it makes that pussy wet. Hey, we got another super chat from Chuck Le Pentior.
With the €10 super chat. Getting your own place, your own business, everything under control, and everything you need at home helps greatly in time control. If there's no kid, if she's gone, you're still a master in your own castle. It's all bien. Très, très bien.
Les poissons, he, he, hon, hon, hon. Okay.
Oui.
Fucking terrible. Okay, let's go around the horn. We'll start with Mike at the bottom. Mike, what do you got going on, man? Where can people find you online?
You can find me online, IG, Mike Steele, Vegas, right there. That's where it's wholesome. Celebrities, food, scenery, Vegas, my brothers, my ex. That's where I raw dog the internet, and I do not hold back. I am here in sunny Las Vegas, and as long as my appointment holds up, I will be recording a little funny something special with Elaine Spar Fitness. I don't know if you're in the chat, Elaine, but we're going to make a little video here, and should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to seeing it when she's all done with it.
All right. Glenn Lawrence, welcome back, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. What I've been up to, where you can find me at your mom's house. I'll be there about 11 o'clock after you go to bed. That's the usual time. They call me Sancho, you know. But no, you can find me at Glenn Lawrence Presents on YouTube. Glenn Lawrence Presents on Instagram, and Mr. Glenn Lawrence on Twitter. You can find me at I think it's Glenn Lawrence Production of Men on Discord. Hey, Are We Not Men? Can you drop that link in the chat, please, for the Discord? I got mods over here. See, my mods are cool like that. Like my mods run deep. Yeah, you can find me on Discord at our Glenn Lawrence Presents Are We Not, our Production of Men. I would encourage you guys to go check out the stream I just finished. We actually broke down chapter 7 of Dominant Master Presidents. We actually listened to the Audible version and we broke it down, and it was a very good breakdown. We had other people come on the panel, ask them Q&As, and then we also broke down the dead bedroom video that we did on the Titan. So I encourage you guys to go check that out. We had both men and women on the panel, and a lot of women even agreed to a lot of the things that we said. So that was always encouraging. So I would encourage you guys to check that out for sure. Yeah, so you can find me. That's where you guys can find me. Yeah.
All right. Laurent, the real Frenchman here, not the fake one, like me and
Oh, okay. My guy's
Chuck the Painter, pleased to meet you. Enchanté. So where I'm at. So with Ryan Fowler, we're about to launch this course on approach anxiety and dating confidence mastery. So approach anxiety is a big thing, and it's interesting because what we talked about today can be summarized into the dating essentials by Robert Glover, and also in our course. So it really resonated. So this is what we've been working on. And if you freeze before approaching a woman, or if you're not confident about escalating, you need that product. Like yesterday, it's a game changer. I mean, I give an example. Like I was in Shimoda over the weekend, and I was carrying the trash, and I literally picked up 3 girls carrying a trash bag. That's the first thing. And my opening line to one of them was, so it's probably the first time that somebody tries to pick you up chat you up with a trash bag. How do you feel about that? And the girl's like, wait, what? Game on. and they were very, very good looking. The second one, I was holding my trash bag, and I looked at her like, do you think I'm good in bed? And she was like, wait, what? So it works. It works. That stuff works. It's funny though. All right, that was it. That was my 2 cents. And gentlemen, as always, it's always an honor and a privilege to be here in your company. I learned a ton. And thank you very much for your wisdom. It's worth waking up in the middle of the night. All right.
Huds. What's going on?
All right. As you guys know, best way to reach me right down here on Instagram. If you have any questions, yes, I can do gay dating coaching, but typically it's just regular dating coaching. But you can reach out to me there with any questions. You can also book consults from there. Outside of that, I've been continuing to build the Men of Now community, which is my private community. And every week we do Zoom calls together. And we also do shows every week. What we've been focusing on right now is going through the entire history of the Red Pill, Manosphere, doing all the things from the very beginning to PUA to then the Rational Males coming up. And we're going all the way through. And I just want to say thank you so much to Paul and to Laurent for joining us on the last episode. So I'll go ahead and put that up there on the chat if you guys want to go subscribe and listen to some of that information. We're just going to keep going with that. I think it's very important, and it's lost nowadays. A lot of people don't know how we got to where we are. And when we go back, and that's why we study the greats when it comes to, any topic, really. We need to go back to really understand our roots to then better navigate this life. So really looking forward to see where this goes. Thank you so much, Paul.
Yeah. I'll go, and then we'll have the God Amongst Men take us out. Tune into the podcast Monday. The Book of Puck continues. We're doing chapters 34, 35, and 36. We're going through the whole entire book of the Book of Puck, and I'm basically just reading it to you. I'm reading it to you. It's story time with Paul and Puck, baby. And then in between little sections, I'm giving you my thoughts on some of the things that he's talking about. Other than that, we did talk a lot about changing your paradigm, becoming more aware, not being an NPC, reprogramming some of these subconscious beliefs that are holding you back, keeping you dating the wrong type of women. Ever since I've been starting to implement NLP in my coaching practice, I've been seeing massive changes in these guys that I'm working with. We go through really cool techniques, stuff like the swish pattern. If you guys have ever worked in NLP, you know what the swish pattern is. It's kind of like NLP's duct tape, but that basically replaces certain beliefs and emotions in your mind at a subconscious level. And it's just a fun process to walk through. And then you immediately see it. Like as I'm walking guys through this stuff, you just see all these, like you just see them immediately lift up. you see it in their body language. Like just all that stress and stuff is just gone because they reprogrammed that with their own visualization. So if you need help with any of that kind of stuff, book a call with me. I'm going to drop a link here. You can go to coaching.comeonmanpod.com. Thor.
Gentlemen, what a great show. I mean, the DragonShip's an amazing podcast, panel show. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's international. These men we call Drakars, they pull it together. The amount of research and talk is all fun, and it has that philosophy of being the rising tide. Every man believes in it. That being said, we have something special coming up. I'm not going to announce too much. I think my dear Viking son kind of jumped on the topic he wants, but every one of the Drakars is going to do something extremely special in publication over the course of the next 9 months that is going to basically compile an encyclopedia with background stories, with some wisdom and some prescriptions that'll make it easy for everybody to understand why they would want to implement these techniques, traits, and behaviors in their life and develop a personal character that they can project out into the world to manipulate and change reality for the betterment of themselves and those around them. That's the essence of the rising tide. And you'll find it here on the DragonShip. And if you wanted to know more, you can certainly join the Dragons membership, our monthly meetings, and you can find out what this project is. Huds is going to help as our project manager, but you will see names in there as this project rolls forward that will span the history of the red pill content creators that you currently understand. And this will be a good thing. So I'll leave you guys with that. And if we are done, you can always find me at Become Durable or check out the book. I'm just going to take you guys out with the main theme. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week. Go.